各位傳媒朋友，大家好，多謝大家今日出席呢一個記者會。稍後行政長官會先作一個發言，然後接受大家嘅提問。由於疫情關係啦，咁請大家喺記者會入邊都係盡量保持距離。我哋依家首先有請行政長官。
各位傳媒朋友，各位香港市民，今日係年29，聽日係年初一，喺呢度咧就祝願全港市民喺虎年身體健康，一切順利。我今日同大家交代呢，係早前喺1月3日晚上有多位政府官員出席一場宴會嘅事件，完成咗嘅內部調查，今日向大家詳細交代。關於15名政府官員獲邀出席喺今年1月3日洪偉文先生嘅生日宴會嘅行為有否違反紀律，我喺1月7日發表咗一個聲明，公佈已經指示咗行政長官辦公室主任陳國基同埋公務員事務局局長聶德權進行詳細嘅調查。佢哋嘅分工係咁樣嘅，陳國基係負責處理政治委任官員同埋廉政專員，一共係11名；而聶德權則係負責處理屬於公務員嘅官員，一共係4名嘅調查。調查嘅內容係會涵蓋每一名官員出席呢個宴會嘅詳細情況，包括佢哋抵達嘅時間、逗留嘅時間、喺宴會中嘅行為等。例如有否使用安心出行應用程式同埋佩戴口罩等。我喺上個禮拜已經收到有關嘅內部調查嘅文件，而且已經按政治委任制度官員守則同埋公務員事務局按住公務員規例嘅建議作出咗裁決同埋需要嘅懲處，並就其中涉及特區主要官員嘅情況向中央人民政府報告。而家詳細交代如下。首先，正如我早前就住呢件事回答傳媒提問嘅時候指出，一般官員應邀出席一啲佢因為公務認識嘅人士嘅私人聚會，並不存在紀律問題。事實上，唔少官員呢係會視呢啲活動係公務嘅一部分，藉此加強交流，或者同主人家所屬嘅相關業界人士認識溝通，建立工作網絡。呢次調查結果顯示，所有15名嘅官員同洪先生都係有唔同程度嘅工作關係，涉及嘅範圍非常之廣泛，包括資訊科技、香港同內地嘅合作，特別係香港同深圳前海嘅合作、青年嘅發展、道路安全議會等嘅事宜。而有2位同事呢更加表示，佢哋喺加入政府之前呢已經同洪先生認識，並且係有多年嘅交情。又正如我喺1月7日嘅聲明中指出，政府內部調查係針對官員嘅行為有否不符紀律 disciplinary 而遵守防疫嘅規例，即係話預防及控制疾病規定及指示業務及處所規例第599F 章呢個要求呢，即係屬於食環署作為執法部門，佢會對所有出席賓客嘅執法調查工作。就住官員嘅行為，我哋進行一個紀律嘅調查，係因為政府同埋社會對於官員，特別係主要官員或者政治委任制度，又稱政治問責制下嘅官員呢，係有合理嘅行為操守同埋期望。事實上，政治委任制度官員須遵守政治委任制度官員嘅守則，我哋英文叫做 PAO Code。根據呢個守則呢，政治委任官員呢係需要時刻嚴守個人嘅品格操守嘅最高標準，需要身體力行，以身作則。決定應否接受款待嘅時候呢，係必須要考慮出席有關嘅場合是否可能導致政治委任官員或者政府尷尬，或者令到政治委任官員或者政府嘅聲名受損，亦都需要顧及公眾嘅觀感。 上述嘅説法都係喺個守則裏邊有列出嚟嘅。而公務員方面呢，亦都有類似嘅守則。我早前回答傳媒時候，亦都指出，官員出席呢啲私人宴會是否合適，亦都係要睇情況、睇環境嘅。社會大眾呢一次對於官員出席洪先生嘅宴會嘅觀感同埋疑慮，正正係由於香港當時，包括而家都係啦，係處於新一波疫情一觸即發嘅情況，同埋據報嗰個宴會嘅現場嘅環境。因此喺評估官員出席宴會有否違反紀律同埋守則嘅時候呢，我哋係需要考慮當時嘅社會情況。喺12月30日，香港首次發現 Omicron 變異病毒株喺本地傳播之前，香港已經有2個幾月係冇錄得任何本地個案，基本上係達至咗清零㗎啦。所以有關嘅社交距離措施亦都已經係放寬咗一段時間，唔少正常嘅社交活動、宴會、婚宴等都係恢復咗進行。而政府呢係去到1月5日下午召開記者會，宣布一系列收緊社交距離嘅措施，包括停止晚市嘅堂食。因此，一般官員佢喺1月5日之前參加符合防疫規定嘅社交活動，亦都係屬正常同埋可以接受嘅。但係事實上，政府內部當時已經係嚴陣以待。由我擔任主席嘅防疫督導委員會一個核心小組成員係包括所有司局長，已經分別喺12月31日嘅早上同埋1月3日嘅下午召開咗會議，討論應對嘅措施。喺12月31日，即係話第一宗 Omicron 本地出現嘅翌日嘅會議呢，當時係決定我哋未有足夠嘅理據即時去收緊社交距離嘅措施，甚至係唔需要取消大除夕夜同埋新年日嘅大型活動，但係認為必須要提醒市民加強警惕。當日下午，食物及衛生局局長就聯同相關嘅同事召開咗記者招待會，匯報呢個疫情，並且特別重點呼籲市民盡可能避免去到人多擠迫嘅地方，或者參加啲唔戴口罩嘅聚會。有份出席上述會議嘅主要官員同埋公務員，理應比其他唔屬於抗疫班子嘅官員同埋一般市民，包括立法會議員，更加掌握呢個情況，更有敏感度，同埋更加需要以身作則。我哋經過核對資料之後，就睇到民政事務局局長作為核心小組嘅成員，都有出席我剛才講嘅2次內部會議。而事實上，民政事務局可以講係責任僅次於食物及衛生局嘅抗疫團隊，肩負住進行圍封強檢、支援受影響嘅居民、反映民意大量嘅工作。除咗社會疫情嘅情況之外，個別官員呢亦都係應該考慮宴會嘅環境係咪適合久留，同埋是否應避免進行某一啲活動嚟到去避免引起官員自身或者政府嘅尷尬。據出席人士披露，呢個宴會出席人數嘅高峰應該喺晚上9點之後，而我哋嘅調查結果顯示，15名官員裏邊有9位係喺宴會嘅早段，係早到呢係6點到7點，係當時賓客係好稀疏嘅時候出席嘅，而且只作短暫嘅逗留，或者如果逗留嘅時間稍為長啲呢，佢哋喺9點前都已經離開㗎啦。另外有4位係較晚先至出席，但係佢嘅逗留時間係非常之短，所以係符合我早前曾經講過，有陣時官員出席都係到河打個招呼，傾談下呢就離開呢一種嘅情景。只有2位嘅逗留較長嘅時間，並喺晚上9點半之後先離開。佢哋分別係民政事務局局長徐英偉同埋發展局局長政治助理馮英倫。 至於喺遵守防疫要求上面，除咗民政事務局局長徐英偉沒有使用安心出行應用程式，以及晚上9點半後先至抵達嘅入境事務處處長同埋前海關關長，因為佢哋根本冇進入過餐廳而冇使用安心出行。其他12名嘅官員都有遵守使用安心出行應用程式。至於佩戴口罩嘅防疫規定，同樣除咗徐英偉表示在場與唔同嘅人士傾談嘅時候冇戴口罩，同埋馮英倫因為飲咗酒記憶比較模糊，甚至包括可能有參與唱歌但都唔肯定有否戴口罩之外，其他13名官員都表示沒有喺非飲食期間呢係除低個口罩。上述內部調查嘅方法係分別由行政長官辦公室主任同埋公務員事務局局長或者佢哋委託嘅高級同事逐一以問卷嘅形式向官員查問，並將記錄結果俾返佢哋親自核實。而查問嘅內容包括每名官員出席呢個宴會嘅抵達時間、逗留嘅時間、喺宴會中嘅行為等。官員並需要提供證明，包括安心出行嘅記錄、接載官員嘅政府司機記錄或者係八達通嘅記錄等。綜合咗調查嘅結果同埋我剛才描述1月3日及之前嘅社會情況，以及個別官員對於最新疫情嘅掌握程度，我認為第一，全部15名官員同埋洪先生都有唔同程度上嘅工作關係，禮貌上或者考慮公務上嘅需要應邀出席呢個宴會係可以理解同埋接受嘅。第二，其中12名嘅官員係喺宴會早段賓客較稀疏時候出席，並只係作短暫嘅逗留，或者較晚出席但係逗留嘅時間極短，屬於出席到賀打招呼傾談下就離開呢個情景。而且佢哋都有按防疫嘅規例使用安心出行同埋佩戴口罩，並冇參與感染風險高而會令官員或者政府尷尬嘅活動，因此無需作任何嘅紀律跟進。呢12名嘅官員包括許正宇、白韞六、蕭澤頤、歐家宏、鄧以海、鍾偉強、陳浩濂、陳積志、胡健民、蕭嘉怡、張曼莉同埋施俊輝。而事實上，除咗正喺度退休前休假嘅前海關關長之外呢，其他11名官員都喺事後發出新聞稿，對佢哋為抗疫工作帶嚟咗額外嘅負擔係公開致歉。於是餘下就有3名官員，唔屬於我剛才講嘅12名官員呢，係需要接受不同程度嘅跟進。第一位係馮英倫，佢當晚喺宴會逗留超過咗4個小時，直至到午夜先至離開。雖然佢表示同洪先生相識多年，除咗工作關係之外呢，亦都有私人交情，但係作為政治委任官員，應該留意疫情嘅發展同埋政府嘅呼籲，盡量避免喺人多宴會上長時間逗留。但係考慮到佢唔係抗疫團隊嘅成員，因為佢係喺發展局工作嘅，我係會要求發展局長對馮英倫作出口頭警告。第二位係馮浩然，馮浩然係政策創新與統籌辦事處嘅副總監，屬於一位高級嘅公務員，但係佢唔係抗疫團隊嘅主要成員。佢喺宴會逗留嘅時間同埋活動，其實基本上係可以接受嘅。但係佢喺1月6日下午收到衛生防護中心通知，需要進行強制檢測，佢冇馬上向上司報告，並且喺翌日即係1月7日嘅上午仲係返到辦公室，到中午先至去檢測並休假。於是就將同事即係話喺政策創新與統籌辦嘅同事呢，係置於感染風險之中，處事係有欠謹慎。於是我認同公務員事務局建議，應該由佢嘅上司，亦即係政策創新與統籌辦事處總監 按住公務員嘅規例對馮浩然作出一個口頭警告。最後一位係民政事務局局長徐英偉。徐英偉一直係高度參與抗疫嘅工作，係行政長官抗疫督導委員會嘅核心成員，亦都有出席我剛才講嘅12月31日同埋1月3日嘅抗疫會議。佢亦都係領導民政事務局同埋民政事務總署，以至到18區民政事務處嘅首長，喺抗疫期間不時都落區去指揮圍封強檢嘅行動，同埋同同事打氣。相對於其他嘅官員，徐英偉應該有更高嘅防疫意識同埋敏感度。佢喺1月3日出席人多聚集嘅非公務宴會，逗留接近2小時，沒有使用安心出行嘅應用程式，甚至涉嫌違反佩戴口罩嘅防疫規定，實在係令人失望，亦都難以避免令佢本人同埋特區政府尷尬，構成公眾嘅負面觀感。政治委任制度官員守則對於官員需要遵守法律、盡忠職守係有明確嘅要求，而主要官員更加應該嚴守個人嘅品格同埋操守嘅最高標準，需要身體力行、以身作則，時刻推廣同埋支持官員應有嘅原則。徐英偉喺疫情轉趨嚴峻當前，長時間出席群眾聚集嘅宴會，承受感染同埋政治觀感嘅風險，反映出佢嘅警覺性同埋敏感度嚴重不足。喺使用安心出行同埋佩戴口罩方面，又違反咗法例嘅規定，明顯係有違政治委任制度官員嘅守則，亦都不符公眾對於主要官員嘅期望，應當按住守則中嘅懲處條文處理。由於個案涉及主要官員，我已經早前向中央人民政府作出報告。我今日早上收到徐英偉嘅書面辭職通知，佢話要為自己嘅錯誤承擔責任。我認為呢個係體現問責制嘅精神，已經接受咗佢嘅辭職，並將按基本法第48條第5款向中央人民政府建議免除徐英偉嘅民政事務局局長職務。至於食環署根據法例就食肆同埋其他賓客嘅調查，當然亦都包括官員嘅調查，係獨立分開進行嘅。我已經要求食環署按法例盡快進行呢個宴會涉及賓客嘅調查，並適時向公眾交代調查嘅結果。我喺呢度再次重申，抗疫係需要社會齊心協力，政府官員更加應該以身作則，嚴守紀律，時刻保持高度嘅警覺，避免參與高感染風險嘅活動。以上係我就呢件事對公眾嘅詳細交代，睇下大家有咩提問。
依家係提問時間，想提問嘅記者朋友啦，請先舉手，嗌到你嘅時候啦，請講出你代表嘅傳媒機構名稱，然後用我哋俾呢個咪啦去發問嘅。紅色衫嗰位女記者。
你好，有線電視嘅，其實想問翻啦，當日除咗徐英偉之外咧，其實仲有其他唔同官員出席啦。咁好似一哥咁樣，其實佢都係即係警隊嘅榜樣啦，甚至係市民嘅榜樣。其實佢係咪就唔需要為呢一件事負責任咧？而家算唔算係即係揾一兩個人出嚟頂咗個鑊，就即係當係俾個交代就算呢？另外就想問啦，即係蕭澤頤咧就解釋話佢去派對咧就係要做社區警政嘅工作。其實特首接唔接納呢一個解釋咧？疫情之下咧，佢仲出席呢一啲派對做警政工作，係咪就係擺脫佢罪名嘅理由咧？跟住就係想問啦，歐家雲啦，其實佢第一次去餐廳聚餐嘅時候咧，已經違反咗限聚令啦。佢當時已經話會深切反省，咁但係點解今次即係又再犯呢一個事，而又唔使為呢一件事負責任呢？最後就係想問下陳積志，其實佢都有去派對，點解就即係容許佢即係暫時接任咗徐英偉嘅職位呢？唔該。
多謝呢幾條題目都係針對每一位出席嘅官員嚇。 呢個亦都係可以理解嘅。事實上，如果大家記得呢，我自從1月6號主動交代呢件事，其後都多次接受傳媒嘅查詢。我喺幾個場合都話呢，今次我哋係要逐個官員嘅行為嚟到調查，因為唔能夠將15個官員呢係睇成同一個性質去出席呢個宴會嚇。我哋既要考慮佢哋出席嘅時間啦、逗留嘅時間啦，喺逗留期間進行咗啲咩活動，亦都要考慮佢哋自己嘅官員嘅身份同抗疫嗰個關係，從而令到呢個別官員究竟係好深入咁掌握疫情嘅情況，抑或唔係嚇。咁所以只能夠按住每一位官員我哋嘅調查結果呢，而作出我剛才講嘅裁決同埋所需嘅懲處。而我必須要強調呢，我做嘅係紀律調查，係內部嘅紀律調查，係唔會同食環署做嘅法律嘅調查係有衝突。換句話說，我做完調查唔係等於食環署唔可以再調查呢啲官員究竟有冇違規嘅行為。嗱，佢做嘅係法律調查，我做嘅係紀律嘅調查。換句話說，有啲官員冇違法，但係從紀律上或許都唔係好適宜，都唔應該係被接受嘅。咁起碼大家要知道咧，係有呢個咁大嘅分別。嗱，我頭先點解第一點要講咧，就係個情況係喺1月3日。當然佢有少少即係尷尬咧，就係儘管個生日嘅宴會係1月3日，但係社會知悉呢件事，即係所謂曝光咧，係喺1月5、6日啦。我相信，所以我6號我就出嚟講。咁喺1月6號係咩環境咧？就因為我已經喺1月5號公佈咗疫情係嚴峻，甚至咧要喺1月7號咧就係加諸嗰啲社交距離措施。咁所以觀感上就好容易聯想起已經咁嚴峻啦，已經唔可以晚市堂食啦，點解仲有咁多人包括官員咧出席一個嘅晚宴咧？咁所以我剛才係花咗少少嘅篇幅介紹咧，就係其實喺1月3日之前，冇錯係去到12月30日咧係出現咗第一宗嘅 Omicron 嘅本地個案，但係已經係有一段好長嘅時間咧，大家整個社會係放鬆咗嘅。喺嗰段時間，好多嘅活動啊、宴會啊、聚餐咧，都係發生咗嘅嚇。咁所以喺1月3日，如果佢個呢位官員唔係屬於係比較深度嘅參與抗疫嘅工作，更加唔會出席過喺政府內部就住第一宗嘅 Omicron 確診個案而召開嘅2次嘅會議，12月31號同埋1月3日嘅下午，佢喺1月3日嘅6點鐘度去出席呢個宴會呢，我覺得係可以理解、可以接受嚇。只要佢唔係長時間喺度逗留，亦都冇違反安心出行使用啊，或者係佩戴口罩。咁所以幾位嘅同事或者好多位嘅同事呢，我哋係睇過晒佢哋嘅安心出行嘅記錄呢，佢哋都係好早去、好早走嗱。包括你頭嗰2條題目特別關心嘅警務處處長嚇。佢係好早去嘅，係6至7點呢個咁早嘅時間去。當時嘅賓客係好稀疏啊，而佢亦都自己交代過咧，佢一去到就進入咗佢個貴賓室，咁佢傾咗一陣，咁佢走。咁所以我覺得呢一個嘅情況咧係並不違反到一啲嘅紀律，係可以理解。至於你話每一位同事決定佢去唔去一個佢認識嘅公職，喺公職上認識嘅人士嘅私人嘅宴會，我頭先又講咗啦。呢啲亦都係唔可以太過怪罪嘅，因為我哋係識好多人，喺公務上我哋識好多人。咁我哋識咗啲人，咁我哋可能都係有一啲嘅友誼嚇，亦都有陣時係需要即係禮貌上係去應邀出席下呢啲嘅私人嘅聚會嚇。包括紅事啊、白事啊。或者係一啲生日啊，或者係慶祝攞咗啲咩獎項啊，咁係咪啊？咁至於有啲同事甚至咧就係佢覺得其實都係公務一部分喎。我去到嗰個場合都想識多啲人，或者想掌握好啲嗰個界別，而家諗緊啲咩嘢，有啲乜嘢嘅即係同政府想講或者想反映，但係又唔係成日有機會可以開會， 嚟到去反映。咁所以呢一類無論你叫佢做民政工作、警政工作或者係科技嘅交流嘅工作咧，我覺得亦都係無可厚非嘅嚇。咁所以對於警務處處長佢自己嘅講法咧，我係冇意見。但係我都有留意咧，佢都有講呢6個字：經一事長一智。往後咧，可能個敏感度要更加強一啲嚇。至於歐家宏處長咧，就佢係好短時間嘅逗留啊！佢係9點半後出現嘅，所以佢咧就係被安排去檢疫啦。咁但係佢同埋前海關關長係一齊到達，而且係冇入過餐廳嚇。據佢哋表示咧，係喺餐廳外邊。大家都知道灣景中心呢啲喺1樓嗰個嘅佈局係點樣啦，就企喺度咧就係傾咗15分鐘。亦都可能係就係禮貌上恭賀咁傾下咁走咗。咁所以佢兩位會話我都冇入過餐廳嚇，咁我就冇用安心出行嚇，就根本係唔知道要唔要用安心出行。而我今日亦都唔係代食環署去決定去做一個決定，一個澄清，究竟喺呢一種嘅情形之下要唔要用安心出行？但係我覺得佢哋亦都唔涉及一個紀律問題嚇。如果佢真係收尾俾食環署調查，認為佢唔係喎，原來599F 喺呢種情形之下都適用，冇用安心出行，需要係發一個定額告票，咁咪就發個定額告票俾佢兩位啦嚇。咁但係亦都唔存在一個違反紀律嗰個問題。另一位係民政事務局嘅副局長，佢當時去嘅時候啦，係一位副局長啦嚇。咁亦都個工作關係就係青年工作。大家都知道，我哋喺深圳係做好多青年工作，喺前海我哋都有深港青年夢工場，咁所以係有工作上嘅聯繫。佢出席亦都可以理解，佢亦都係逗留時間係屬於短嘅，亦都係早離開嘅，咁所以亦都唔存在需要有紀律跟進嗰個嘅問題。咁由於喺政治問責制之下咧，一般如果局長係未能夠即係離職，我哋都係安排由副局長咧嚟到署任。咁所以當佢係返工之後咧，亦都係署任緊民政事務局嘅局長呢個職位。
下一位提問，後排中間嗰位女記者。
Hello, Mrs. Lam. 3 questions from the South China Morning Post. The first one, did you accept that Mr. Feng's justification that he forgot whether he was masked on after he drank alcohol? Will the government follow up on the matter, whether he breached the social distancing rules? Second question, to follow up on the case of the immigration chief, why wasn't him required to step down, considering that it is the second time he breached the social distancing rules? And the third question, could you please explain on behalf of certain involved officials on why their attendance was related to work, especially the chief of the police, the ICAC, and the immigration? Thank you.
Thank you for the 3 questions. In your first 2 questions, you related to social distancing rules. The so-called social distancing rules are prescribed under the Prevention and Control Disease Ordinance, that is CAP 599. Specifically, is CAP 599F as far as this restaurant's rules are concerned. The investigations that I have ordered the Director of the Chief Executive's Office and the Secretary for Civil Service to undertake is a disciplinary investigation. It will not override the legal or the statutory investigation, which is to be undertaken by the regulatory authority. And in this case, it is the Food and Environmental Hygiene Department. And the department is still doing the investigation, not only for the restaurant, not only for the 15 officials, but also for some 200 guests who have attended that party. So this is not for me to say whether a particular person has breached social distancing rule. But in my investigation, I have, through the detailed information gathering, by the two respective colleagues, that I have now considered all the evidence and come to the view of who have violated the disciplinary code and have to be subject to certain actions, that are altogether 3 officials. I think the one that you have mentioned is subject to a verbal warning. A verbal warning is a form of sanction, both under the civil service regulation and also under the principle or the politically appointed official code. In the provision in the code under the heading of sanctions, warning is one of the sanctions. So Mr. Fung is being put under one of the sanctions, okay? So in a way, he is being punished because of staying too long, over 4 hours, up to midnight, and for probably bridging the rule of not putting on a mask and so on. Now, the Director of Immigration, as far as this particular incident is concerned, the investigation reveals that he arrived very late, about 9:30 p.m., and stayed outside of the restaurant for 15 minutes, and then he left. So generally speaking, everyone was under the impression that if you have not entered a premise, because the 599F apply to scheduled premises, if you have not entered a particular premises, then you are not required to use the leave home safe. So this is the investigation outcome as far as we are concerned. But of course, the regulatory authority, that is the Food and Environmental Hygiene Department, is continuing their own investigation. So I have taken a view, and I think it is a reasonable view, that there is no strong justification to impose a sanction on the Director of Immigration, let alone a sanction to step down. And he is a principal official appointed by the Central People's Government. So I have reported the situations of the principal officials to the Central People's Government. And my conclusion has the endorsement of the Central People's Government. The third is about relation to work. We have looked at the reasons and justifications provided by each of the 15 officials. And I'm satisfied that each of them has a linkage to Mr. Hong. In my statement just now, I have described the various areas of work that colleagues will find themselves having a relationship with Mr. Hong. One is about information technology. For those who know Mr. Hong, he is a sort of community person or a leader in the IT sector. Okay, and then the second area is about Hong Kong and mainland relationship, because Mr. Hong represents the Shenzhen Qianhai in terms of liaison with Hong Kong. And as a result of that, because we have so many things working with Shenzhen Qianhai, on the tax side, on the corruption prevention side, on the legal front, and so on. And I believe the Commissioner for ICAC was right now in some discussions with Shanghai about how to help on corruption prevention. Mr. Hong also has a long period of experience and work in youth development. So colleagues involved in youth development will have a close connection and knowledge about his work. And then finally about the Commissioner of Police. Actually, I didn't realize that, but of course I now realize that Mr. Hong is a long-term non-official member of the Road Safety Council. So, and the Road Safety Council is an institution under the Hong Kong Police Force. So in that context, they are also working partners. So it is also understandable that they receive an invitation, and out of a matter of courtesy, they have attended the meeting. So these are common sense. I'm not trying to defend them, but I would say that this is understandable for officials who have some official dealings with a private individual, and when they receive an invitation from this private individual, as a matter of courtesy or as an indication of recognition of the work that this individual has done for a government department. So they accepted the invitation and attended the event. Thank you.
第3位提問，後排嗰位男記者。
你好，商業電台，想問幾個問題。第一個問題就係兩位官員佢哋嘅懲處方式係口頭警告啦。其實口頭警告係咪即係唯一嘅選擇咧？有冇其他嘅選擇其實都可以考慮咧？例如係即係限制佢哋嘅晉升嘅年份啊，或者係喺薪金上面有扣減呢啲嘅罰則點解唔考慮咧？若果口頭警告會唔會俾市民一個觀感其實就係不痛不癢懲處太輕咧？呢個第一個問題。第二個問題就係見到徐英偉佢其實係自己去選擇即係自己辭職啦，而並非係用一個即係被辭退嘅方式離任。呢一個係即係係咪顧及到即係各方嘅體面咧，定係即係都會有當中嘅一啲考慮因素咧？咁而第三就係即係見到今次嘅事件啦，政府都好重視去到即係作一啲紀律嘅處分啦，即係認為係有違一個即係抗疫啦。咁反之其實見到即係喺2019年嘅社會事件，咁政府其實都即係當中都引起咗唔少嘅風波，而家即係都形成咗一個社會嘅撕裂，但係當中都未有任何嘅主要官員因此而需要問責，有任何嘅後果。當中有冇一個即係叫做雙重嘅標準係喺度咧？而最後就即係嚟緊冬奧，你會唔會上京咧去出席開幕禮？
幾條問題。第一咧就係關於公務員嘅紀律嘅處理咧，其實唔係行政長官嘅責任。所以你留意到我剛才講咧，就係有關於喺呢一次宴會事件裏邊嘅幾位嘅公務員咧就係由公務員事務局局長嚟到去調查，調查之後嘅睇法同埋係覺得需要係一啲懲處咧，都係公務員事務局按住公務員嘅規例嚟到作出。所以我嘅字眼就住係馮浩然先生咧，就係我認同我認同咧都係一個馮浩然先生咧都係一個認同嗰個嘅處理我認同公務員事務局局長建議就由佢嘅上司咧作一個口頭警告。口頭警告咧都係一種嘅紀律嘅處分咁如果考慮到兩位嘅而家要接受口頭警告，馮英倫同埋馮浩然咧，大家會睇到佢哋個性質咧都係唔屬於話好嚴重咁所以公道起見咧，我就都會覺得口頭警告咧係一個適當嘅處分。第二咧就係徐英偉佢選擇辭職，我冇得代佢回答點解佢辭職我係今朝早上咧先至係收到呢個辭職嘅書面嘅通知咁我留意到佢都發出咗個聲明佢呢個辭職咧都係佢話對於佢喺呢個宴會有失當嘅行為，對政府抗疫工作帶嚟負面影響咧係表示歉意，咁所以係應該為自己嘅錯誤承擔責任，於是選擇辭職。咁我亦都係認同咧呢一種嘅做法都係體現我哋政治問責制嘅精神，因為政治問責制嘅精神特別喺呢個政治委任制度官員嘅守則裏邊咧，係有一個要負上個人責任，即係自己要為自己嘅決定咧係要承擔嗰個責任。咁所以徐英偉今次咧係承擔咗呢個責任，係體現咗呢個問責制嘅精神咁所以我亦都係認同當然你話如果佢唔辭職咁點咧？就呢個假設嘅問題咧，我就唔想答啦。不過大家都知道，由於係主要官員咧，呢個任同埋免都係要經中央人民政府嚟到去審批嘅你將呢件事同我哋喺2019年面對咁大嘅黑暴嘅事件拉上關係，我都好難明白政府推行好多嘅政策，呢啲政策有陣時或者好多時都會有爭議性，而且而家事實睇嚟咧，2019年推動嘅條例，佢係有佢嘅理據。不過就係俾一啲反中亂港嘅人士咧，藉此喺香港製造事端，甚至係 進行一啲近似顏色革命嘅行為。我哋應該感謝好多嘅人士，包括警隊咧，都係堅守原則、堅守底線，令我哋度過咗呢一次嘅黑暴嘅事件。所以並不存在有任何要追究個人嘅負責嘅情況。最後你問冬奧，2月4日咧就係北京冬季奧運會嘅開幕。北京係全世界唯一一個城市咧可以辦夏季奧運會同埋冬季奧運會。我係深信咧，我哋國家會辦出一場精彩、簡約、安全嘅奧運會。我喺述職期間呢，係曾經都係表示過希望能夠出席呢個冬季奧運會。咁大家又記得喎，當時係香港疫情非常之穩定嘅時候，我亦都喺過去呢段疫情咁穩定嘅時候呢，多次出訪重慶、四川、武漢同埋西安嚇。咁所以我翻咗嚟之後呢，亦都係正式收到中央向我發出嘅邀請，請我同埋先生呢一齊係上京出席呢個冬季奧運會嘅開幕式。但係我已經馬上拒絕咗啦，因為當時香港嘅疫情已經係逆轉。咁所以回答你嘅提問呢，我係不會去北京出席呢個冬季奧運會，但一定咧會喺電視直播睇呢一場精彩嘅奧運，亦都喺呢度預祝我哋3位參加冬季奧運嘅健兒呢係攞得好嘅成績。
第4位提問，後排3位女記者。
林太你好 ，Now TV 嘅。首先想問翻呢，都係徐英偉辭職嗰度啦。頭先嘅説法就係話今早收到佢嘅請辭，但係想知道嗰份報告本身其實係諗住要去點樣去懲處徐英偉嘅呢？有冇本身已經諗住要將佢革職嘅呢？咁而家係即係徐英偉自己主動請辭，定係即係政府都俾機會佢即係自己辭職，令到佢可以體面啲，定係點樣樣啦？呢個第一啦。咁第二呢，就係想知道當日其他嘅即係官員點解唔需要問責下台呢？尤其頭先提到啦，歐家宏其實都唔係第一次喺疫情期間有一啲聚會嘅活動，即係佢咁樣去，即係雖然頭先林太嘅説法就係話當日佢應該係冇一啲紀律嘅問題啦，咁但係即係兩次都係犯同一個錯嘅時候，會唔會認為佢係冇吸取到上一次嘅教訓呢？如果係咁嘅時候，點解佢又唔需要有一啲即係比較嚴重嘅處分，即係輕輕放過去就算數呢？咁而第三呢，就係關於馮英倫當日究竟有冇戴口罩嘅問題，即係當日其實頭先都提到佢喺現場逗留咗成4個鐘啦。理論上在場其他人呢應該可以知道佢有冇戴口罩。其實即係當局去調查嘅期間，有冇向他人查問過馮英倫有冇戴口罩呢？即係如果係冇做到呢一步嘅時候，其實係即係點解冇去即係就住呢一個部分再去詳細調查落去呢？係咪諗住要放生佢咁樣呢？咁而最後呢，就係想知道即係點解會選擇喺呢一個時候公佈整份嘅報告啦，同埋民政局嘅職務呢，將會係即係點樣去處理？唔該。
我答咗最後一個問題先。大家記得呢，我喺1月6號主動第一時間同社會交代有一件咁嘅事。1月7號就發出聲明呢，係要做一個內部嘅紀律調查。咁之後呢，其實我先後5次出席嘅有關防疫或者喺行政會議之前會見傳媒呢，都俾你哋追問你調查成點啊？行政長可以講俾我哋聽未呢？咁我都話會爭取盡快，直至到最近呢一次呢，應該呢過去1個禮拜呢，我就係話俾大家聽，我真係希望喺農曆年之前呢，可以有一個交代啊。咁但係正如我頭先所講呢，因為呢件事係涉及主要官員，我必須要先向中央人民政府作一個報告，我先能向大家交代。咁今日係第一時間，我可以同大家交代，咁就係同大家交代。呢個係履行咗我早前同大家表示，我希望做到我工作嘅目標啊，唔係特別選擇話呢日呢一時嘅。翻去第一個問題呢，就係呢個係一個內部調查，我收到嘅係一份內部調查嘅文件嚇。咁但係我嘅詳細交代呢，可以講已經交代晒，差唔多都係交代得七七八八，即係喺呢一次內部調查而知道嗰個嘅情況噶啦嚇。就佢點解佢會辭職？我頭先話啦，我冇得代佢答嘅。 但係你想知道，如果佢唔辭職，會有啲咩處分？因為我已經作出咗一個裁決咧，佢係有不符呢個政治問責官員嘅守則，亦都有負公眾嘅期望，特別喺抗疫裏邊咧，為政府帶嚟咗啲負面嘅觀感。咁所以當然係要接受懲處啦。喺嗰個守則裏邊嘅懲處咧，都係寫得好清楚，有幾方面嘅。咁但係由於佢已經辭職咧，所以呢個已經唔係一個需要處理嘅議題啦嚇。而我同中央喺報告裏邊有冇好具體講用邊種懲處咧，就算我唔可以公開嘅，因為咁多年嚟咧，行政長官同中央喺內部嘅討論而未能夠公開嘅時候，所有嘅細節都不能夠講。呢個已經反覆講咗好多次咧，係行政長官作為中央官員，既向香港市民負責，又向中央負責咧，必須嚴守嘅紀律嚟嘅。我覺得呢個唔係一個體面嘅問題，呢個係個人是否願意承擔責任嗰個嘅問題，係一個問責制精神嘅問題。咁所以徐英偉選擇咗嚟到去體現呢個問責制嘅精神，個人承認錯誤而作出呢種辭去職務嘅決定咧，我係認同嘅嚇。咁所以呢個唔係佢嘅體面或者政府嘅體面，就係一個問責制精神嘅體現嘅問題嚇。歐家宏處長，你頭先都好似話同意佢都冇一個紀律嘅問題，因為佢去咗10零分鐘企喺門口傾咗幾句。咁所以唔係紀律嘅問題，就唔能夠話佢係一錯再錯，佢都冇紀律問題，點樣又犯錯呢？如果第日食環署查出歐處長唔係喎，有錯喎，咁就由食環署去處理。食環署處理完之後，我會唔會再處理呢？呢個我到時一定係會再睇。如果大家記得呢，1月7日嘅聲明，除咗話我會做內部紀律調查，我亦都有一段説話呢，係我會參考食環署就住599F 調查嘅結果。但係食環署仲未做完，因為食環署亦都要一視同仁，佢要做埋其他咁多賓客，佢先會全面公佈嗰個結果。但係我就明知道社會咁關注，當我已經有條件公佈嘅時候，我冇理由特登唔公佈我嘅內部紀律調查，然後喺度等食環署調查話俾我聽，我啲官員特別係歐處長當日有冇犯安心出行使用啊，有冇犯戴口罩使用啊，諸如此類。就當然你話如果要好徹底查，係咪可以行政長官或者特首辦主任去請晒啲賓客嚟攞口供？但呢個唔係我哋紀律調查嘅範圍，呢個係食環署佢可能會做嘅調查嘅範圍。而事實上咧，經過咗接近2年咧，照我所知599F 係好少有事後嘅調查嘅嚇。尤其是係戴口罩嚇，好多時都喺即晚，我哋派啲食環署或者警務處嘅同事喺即場見到，哇！你企起身周圍行嚟行去，又唔係飲又唔係食，點解唔戴口罩咧？就即刻發告票嘅。事後去調查、去攞人證物證、口供，其實係比較少。不過既然社會有關注，我知道食環署今次咧，佢哋係發咗俾嗰200位賓客攞資料，發咗一啲嘅文件，叫佢交資料。如果啲資料顯示有值得懷疑譬如聽日喺網上有好多相，係睇到有個別賓客咧真係冇戴口罩做好多嘅活動咧，我相信食環署亦都會採取一定嘅執法嘅行為啦。咁大致上嘅情況係咁。
今日我哋問多最後條問題啊。白色衫後排嗰位女記者。
Good afternoon. Some questions from RTHK. So you said it's acceptable for officials to attend the party because they have a work relationship with the party organizer. So does this mean that in the future, if officials can attend high-risk events if it's for work? And also some senior DAB members, including EXCO member Ip Kwok Kim, has said they felt Choi should have kept his job. So what do you think about such views? Thank you.
No, I hope we would not react in a too far-fetched manner. When I said that in this particular incident, it is acceptable for most of the officials to accept the invitation to attend this birthday party reception. One has to take into account the relationship that that particular official has with the host. So if they have a working relationship, they know each other, and they receive an invitation to celebrate something of this person, then as a matter of courtesy, or even to use that occasion to meet up with other people belonging to the same sector, is understandable. This is how public officials sometimes could do their job. You try out to reach out, to network, to understand, to receive feedback. I hope you are not suggesting that public officials should not have any private event function. That was going too far to the extreme. So that was my intention of what I have said. But of course, if that event is a high-risk event, then nobody should go. Not only my public officials, nobody should go to any high-risk event, especially in an epidemic situation. But as I again have explained, on the 3rd of January, that was before the government announced another major wave and package of tightening up the social measures. So one could excuse them for not knowing the situation and still attend a function on the full understanding that the rules will be fully complied with. I have received and looked at the invitation sent through the WhatsApp message. It did tell the guests that this event follows exactly the rules. It's a restaurant which complies with, and so on and so on. So with that sort of situation, I said it is understandable and acceptable for the officials to accept the invitation and to attend the event, as long as they fulfilled all the requirements, and better still, they did not stay too long and they do not mingle too much with the guests and left at the early stage of the party before it became very crowded. Now, I cannot comment on what other people said about how we deal with this case and the resignation of Casper Choi. I can only end by saying that the political accountability system was introduced with an intent in mind, and that is senior officials should be held responsible and accountable for their decisions. And this is also intended to meet the public expectations that senior officials should uphold high standards in their conduct, in their integrity, in their daily dealings with people. So the fact that Casper has decided to resign in order to shoulder this personal responsibility or this political responsibility, I think there's something that we should affirm that this is the right act to do. And by the way, I'm sure you are aware that Casper has joined the government for over 10 years. He joined in 2008 as a very young official and climbed through the ranks from a political assistant to a deputy secretary, and was chosen by me and nominated by me and appointed by the Central People's Government as a principal official in early 40s. And I've worked with him in the last 2 years or so. I think he was, by and large, a very responsible and diligent colleague. But it was a very unfortunate event that he had made the wrong judgment. Lack of political sensitivity, especially in holding this position of a Secretary for Home Affairs. But I do wish him luck, and I hope that he will continue to serve the community, and he is still young. And I'm sure that he has learned, although learning a very hard way over this incident, but I'm sure that he will try his best to continue to serve people of Hong Kong in various capacities. 多謝大家。